Hi everyone, welcome back to Casual Watch Review channel. This week we're looking at a watch from Zelos. I have such an interesting relationship with Zelos because even though these watches typically aren't to my personal taste, I'm definitely more boring, more traditional in my watch taste. Whenever I see one in person, they normally look a lot better than they do on their website. They do a good job of photographing on their website, but it makes me smile knowing that if you like the look of this watch, when you get one in hand, you're really going to be impressed with it. Zelos also has a really cool packaging, one of my favorite packagings that comes on a watch, and that is a watch roll. This is a nice sort of leatherette watch roll with 3 watch slots. What's really interesting though about this one is you can remove each of the individual little sections, so you can put in additional watches and then take that traveling. The watch that we're looking at today is the Helica, the Helica. I'll go with Helica for the sake of the review. This is their new go anywhere, do anything watch. So it still has a lot of that cheeky Zelos charm, but it's certainly more understated than some of the other Zelos watches that we've looked at. And that understatement really starts with the case. So we're looking at a 39mm case, 45.5 from lug to lug. Here you can see it on my 7.2-inch wrist, thickness of 11.9mm. That might seem thick, but it has this really nice top hat sapphire crystal. So without that crystal, it's 10.5mm. Visually, it does look a lot more like a 10.5mm watch than one that's nearly 12mm in thickness, because we do have that gorgeous top hat sapphire crystal, which really does frame that beautiful dial really nicely and adds that little bit of vintage charm to it. The case is mainly brushed with some polishing around the bezel and the top flanks of the lugs. And as with Zelos, even these everyday watches, they still give it that 100 meters water resistance. And here we have a screw down crown. The screw down crown is beautifully machined, nice knurling on there, but not too rough as to rub up against your skin. In fact, that's one of my favorite things about Zelos, is the way that they finish their crowns. And I'll get on to one of my other favorite features about Zelos watches as well. While we're talking about the rest of the watch, we can't go without talking about this new style bracelet that they've put on this watch. This is a 20mm lug width, quick release, so it's not integrated. You can certainly swap it out, put your favorite 20mm strap. But this is a really nicely machined, distinctive looking 3-link bracelet. Certainly classes up the watch a lot more. There's certainly a little bit of jangle to it, but overall still has quite a high quality feel to it. The only negatives I would say on the bracelet is it does look as if it has female end links towards the lugs, but it is more of a male end link. The 2 prongs that attach to that first link from the fitted end links, you'll notice that that doesn't actually slope down, so you will notice that on the wrist. If you have smaller wrists, you'll notice that sort of coming down instead of where you would think it would articulate more towards the case. Not overall an issue if you have more modest size wrists, but just something to note. Nicely, the bracelet tapers from 20mm right down to 16, which again gives it quite a classy feel on the wrist. They haven't forgotten about one of my favorite features about Zelos bracelets, and that is their quick adjust on the bracelet. They have a micro adjust on the bracelet that allows you to let out about a link's worth, and it's activated by pressing the Zelos logo. Huge fan of this. This is one of my favorite on-the-fly micro adjust clasps from any brand. I would put this on par with my other favorites like Jack Mason, and then maybe a tier up would be the Christopher Ward one as well, which is probably one of my favorites actually. But nicely machined, great to see on a watch, certainly in this price range as well. You don't see these on-the-fly micro adjust bracelets, even from some of the bigger brands like Citizen. This watch is coming in at $500, which I think is a pretty good deal. It does include one of the top grade Miyota 9015 movements. But what I will say about the movement in here is you can hear the rotor spinning. This is something that we definitely see in the 8000 series Miyota movements, where you can hear the rotor spinning around, but this is the first time that I've noticed it on a watch that is running the 9000 series, likely due to the way that the case is constructed that we can hear that. It doesn't bother me. I actually like the sound of that moving rotor, but if that is something that does bother you, then just keep that in mind. You definitely can hear the rotor on this watch. It's subtle, but it is definitely there. Now let's get to the absolute star of the show, that dial and handset. This dial has guilloché, and a guilloché is what is a type of engraving that you get on very, very high-end watches have this look, and it is a very distinctive look. We also have lume pattern, so this particular one, which is the launch special, it goes from silver in the center up to a dark black towards the outer edge of the dial, so it has a lot of visual appeal, and that color gradient really enhances that texture that's on the dial. The date window at 6 o'clock gets a big thumbs up from me, and the other visual element of this dial, which is really special, is this one has a blue color applied to the outer of the indices, arrow at the top, and then the hands have this blue color applied to them as well, this metallic blue. So again, really elevates the look of the dial. It does give it a very distinctive look. Having said that, so it's one of those things where if you like it, you're really going to like it. But if you're not really drawn to it, then the actual color combination here might put you off. But I personally think it's quite a nice color combination. The hands, I think, are quite quirky. I don't think I've seen another watch like this before, where the hands look almost, when they are opposite each other, those hands very much look like, to me, a paintbrush, as if a paintbrush has been dipped in paint. Now, I don't think that is actually the design language it's supposed to be, but that's something that it looks like to me. And then the minute hand, of course, goes all the way to the outer edge of the minute track, although there isn't a minute track on this watch, but I always like to see that. I always like to see a longer minute hand. On the wrist, this watch is extremely comfortable, very well balanced. The adjustment for the bracelet is done through screws, so very easy to adjust, and again you have that micro adjust as well. Glorious lume shot, plenty of lume and different colored lume, gives it that real nice visual appeal in the dark. Overall, I'm a huge fan of the way that Zelos execute their watches. They did send this one in for a review, so that's why you saw the paid promotion at the start of the upload. Very interested to know what you think. Now, I did check on the website, and it looks like a couple of these versions are already sold out. So if you are interested in this watch, I would head over there now. $500 for a Miyota 9015 watch. Finished to this standard, I think is actually a cracking deal. More importantly, what did you think? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you're new to the channel, love it if you hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up and the bell notification, and I'll see you all next time on Casual Watch Reviews.